What was the most racist rule at your school? Our principal, Mr. Harris, spent every morning announcement reminding us that speaking any language other than English would result in immediate punishment. One day he claimed he overheard kids plotting in Spanish, and from that day on, teachers patrolled the hallways, the bathrooms, and even the parking lot listening for anything that wasn't English. One word meant 3 days suspension plus a note on your permanent record. Mr. Harris loved telling assemblies that English was the language of success. Spanish was all my family spoke at home, so going the whole school day without using a single word of Spanish was exhausting and stressful. My mom stopped coming to school events after a teacher corrected her accent in front of other parents. Kids would hang up on their parents mid-call rather than risk answering in their native language and getting suspended. The Puerto Rican kids, the Vietnamese kids, the Haitian kids, we all walked around like half ourselves, our real voices trapped in our throats. My friend got suspended for calling out to his grandmother in Spanish when she picked him up, and another lost his scholarship for accidentally cursing in French when he stubbed his toe. I kept my phone hidden and silenced because my grandmother, who lived with us and only spoke Spanish, had worsening heart problems. My mom worked at a warehouse 40 minutes away where she couldn't always answer calls, making me the emergency contact. 2 years without a suspension meant I'd perfected the art of swallowing Spanish words before they could escape, even when other kids tried to trick me into responding as a joke. I'd also figured out workarounds that technically didn't break the rule. When my grandmother called during lunch, I'd answer with just mm-hmm and no while she talked in Spanish, making it sound like I was agreeing with someone speaking English nearby. When my grandmother had a minor fall and called during passing period, I had to stand in the bathroom stall, saying nothing but yes and no while she asked me questions, terrified that someone would hear me if I spoke. I tapped out codes we developed where 3 taps meant take your medicine and 4 meant call mom instead. It took 15 minutes to make sure she was okay without actually speaking to her, and I was late to chemistry, but at least I hadn't gotten suspended. I thought I could keep managing these situations with creative solutions until graduation. My grandmother knew about the rule and tried to only call for real emergencies, but sometimes she forgot or got confused. We had a whole system worked out where the neighbor would text me first if something was really wrong, and I'd know to step outside school property before calling back, but emergencies don't always follow your careful plans. During history class, my phone vibrated 12 times in my pocket before I finally checked it under my desk. My neighbor only had this number for emergencies with my grandmother, and she'd never called more than twice before. My hands were shaking as I saw the missed calls climbing to 20, then 25. The second our teacher turned to write on the board, I slipped out into the hallway and called back. My neighbor was screaming in Spanish that my grandmother had collapsed and was barely breathing. She couldn't translate the name of my grandmother's heart medication for the paramedics, and they couldn't understand what she was trying to tell them. The medication had a long name that sounded similar to the one she was allergic to, and in her panic, my neighbor kept mixing them up. I tried our tapping system, but she was crying too hard to understand it. I tried typing the medication name in a text, but she couldn't read my screen to the paramedics while holding the phone to her ear. There was no creative solution this time. My grandmother was dying, and I had to choose between her life and my future at this school. I ran down the empty hallway toward the exit, speaking rapid Spanish, explaining exactly where the medication was kept in the bathroom cabinet, 3rd shelf, behind the vitamins, in the white bottle, not the blue one. My neighbor put me on speaker so I could talk to the paramedics, but they didn't speak Spanish either, so I was translating frantically back and forth while running to my car. The medical terms came out in whatever language I could think of them in first, switching between Spanish and English so fast I couldn't track which language I was speaking, just desperate to get the information across about her heart medication and her deadly penicillin allergy, then back to Spanish to calm my neighbor who kept asking if my grandmother was going to die. I was so focused on getting every detail. Right that I didn't notice Principal Harris standing by the main entrance, watching me speak the forbidden language that could save my grandmother's life. He had his phone out, recording everything, his face completely unreadable. She survived because the paramedics knew not to give her the medication she was allergic to. The doctor said the allergy information I'd translated saved her life, that the wrong medication would have killed her in minutes. The next morning, I walked into first period to find Principal Harris sitting at my teacher's desk with his laptop open. The whole class was dead silent. He turned the laptop toward me, showing security footage from the hallway with clear audio of me speaking rapid Spanish on my phone. "Would you like to explain," he said, pulling out a suspension form with my name already filled in, "why you thought you were exempt from our English-only policy? Full story on the channel below."